Hey everybody, welcome to the first edition of Treasure Hunt with us. I'm Emma,
I'm Jam.
and we're here to take you through our version of what we believe is happening in There's a Treasure Inside.
What?
We
What?
suspected if you're like us, you found out about this great treasure hunt and you thought, I can find all 5 boxes. In fact, Jam believes he personally will find all 5 boxes without ever leaving California.
Pretty sure they're all in California. So.
And it's kind of the fun part of it is that we laugh about that. I will warn you that we are siblings, so we behave kind of like jerks sometimes. We may argue in front of you. We almost always end up agreeing at the end or agreeing to disagree. But no matter what, the whole purpose behind all of this for us is to just have a little bit of extra family time and get out there and have fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the way life works, she's out on the west or east coast. I'm on the west coast and stuff like that. So we don't get to see each other nearly as much as we like.
Right.
So this was an opportunity. She messaged me on what, the New Year's Day. We are way behind. I mean, everybody else started in like November. So
But it was kind of funny though because pipe burst. I have a pretty new house, but pipe burst in my front yard, and I was like, "This is the worst day ever." And I'm like,
that was your first treasure hunt. Find
I
where
was
the
like,
pipe
"Where do I
burst.
find it? How do I find a plumber who's going to come out here and not charge me $1,000?" But of course, it actually did end up being $1,000. That's not the point. But as I'm doom scrolling, here comes. Jon Collins Black pops up into my Instagram feed talking about his treasure hunt. And if you're like us, very, very young Gen Xers.
Gen X.
And you love things like, well, I mean, we love to be outdoors. We're not big hikers. I mean, I'm not going to lie to people. You're going to learn that about me.
No, but we're the Goonies generation.
We're the Goonies generation.
We're
We love National Treasure.
National Treasure, and stuff like that.
As kids, we used to make maps with our sister, and we would hide stuff all over our yard.
We're buried in our backyard.
And then we have another brother too, who after I got a little older and moved away, Jam ended up like burying treasure that we almost wish we could find. You'll actually find a few things that we wish we could find that would be huge treasures for us as time's gone on. But we're of that demographic where we work full-time jobs, both of us. We're both pretty successful at what we do, but we have that need for a little something more. I can only play so much pickleball. I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong.
You are the pickleball queen. So.
And by that, he means I have good paddles and I definitely have the great outfits. But have I won a tournament? Have I gone to a tournament? Can I find a partner who will play in tournaments with me? No, I can't. But we wanted something we could do together. Being bi-coastal, this was one of the greatest choices. And we love a good hunt. We have completely different skill sets. He's super mathematical. He knows almost everything there is to know about a computer. Ironically, I do numbers all day long, but I don't think like that. I think completely different than, I always say I've got a backwards brain. So when people say things, I'm looking behind your words to find your meanings. So something like this.
You can read people. You can pick up on clues better than anybody I know. So.
Well, and I think one of the really fun
your
things.
Instincts are insane. So.
Thank you. That was so sweet.
Yeah.
But I think that if you're like us and you're thinking about like, why would somebody do this? If I have to hear one more person say, oh, he only did this so he can sell a book, I have bad news for you. I've looked into it, not because of a JCB, but you don't make a ton of money off of books. You just don't.
He's selling a lot of books.
I mean, he's selling a lot of books.
You know what? Good for him. Get your money back. I don't care. Get your money back. Like, you just made an awesome treasure hunt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But my point is this, is like, when you watch his interviews and when you see who he is, I will say more than ever, what I recognize is intent here. And so like when you see his very earnest interviews where he's saying things like, get outside, it's an opportunity. For us, it was like, oh my gosh, did he just give us family time back, from across the country? And the answer is yes.
Yeah. And we're spanning generations, right? Because in our treasure hunt, it's not just us two and stuff like that. What's it called? We have Mrs. Jam, and you have, your husband. We have our mom, so we have a boomer, we have a millennial, and stuff like that.
My daughter, we're all involved in trying to make this work. I mean, you'll basically mostly see us when we're jumping in to have our podcasts.
True story.
Mostly just because we're the most entertaining, but also because
clearly,
this is our road trip together.
Speaking of entertaining, if you like us. If you hate us, make sure you hit that little subscribe button down there. Hit the like button.
We'd appreciate it.
Leave a comment and stuff like that and be like, oh my gosh, you guys are annoying. That's fine. Just like us, hate us.
Please don't call us annoying in public.
She probably will. So.
No, but on a serious note, he's right. Subscribe. If for no other reason, then you never know the thing that we're going to say that will take your clues and sew them together or hem them together if you're reading the way we are. You know, we're watching other things. I mean, a big shout out to Cowlazars and KPro. You have been fantastic. Also, the unofficial There's a Treasure Inside podcast. Yep. We're listening to everything you're doing. Also on Spotify, and we'll list links to everything because I found so much of it from watching different podcasts and listening to or watching YouTubes and listening to different podcasts. But even I've been listening to JCB's friend on Spotify. Gosh, I wish I could remember his name.
Yeah, he's just started doing. He just started doing
the American Treasure Podcast by Dave Colonna. Like even that, there's such tremendous information in there, and I think, I mean, and Jeff's going to make fun of me a little bit here, because I always say, JCB says everything you need is in the book.
Yeah, you are the book purist and stuff like that. And stuff like me, I'll get my information from anywhere.
I mean, you say that, but think of it like this. We decided we were going to do this treasure hunt on the 1st of January. Right. Neither of us could get a book that would be delivered at the time until sometime mid-February to March.
That's right. You're like, hey, join this treasure hunt. I'm like, no problem. Let me get a book. Great. February, March. Awesome. Thanks. You know,
so
unfortunately
about this to start this someday. But then I lack patience in all forms. And we have a really great mom who's always taught us that if you can't solve a problem immediately, throw money at it until you can. And so I jumped on eBay and I started buying books left and right. And I spent a couple $100 on books so that we'd have something now. And the cool part is that we have two. What do we have? 3rd edition books or 2nd edition books?
2nd edition book, and you just bought another book, which was the 3rd edition.
I bought two more 3rd editions because I'm now, in addition to being a purist, I'm also a hoarder apparently. But
that's true.
My reasons are very firm though. Like I'll explain, and I'll always explain my why because I'm not trying to hoard the books. But I will tell you, I wanted to take a book apart.
That's right.
So I needed one so I could take it apart. I don't think that there's anything hidden. Like if you're looking through, I mean, maybe there is. I don't know. I haven't.
We tried that.
We did try that.
Okay. Here's what you don't need to get for the book. You do not need to get a UV light. I literally UV light the whole thing and stuff. We don't throw out red herrings. There's nothing in there.
Thing. Because remember, before you had your book, so I got 2 books delivered to me because I couldn't get eBay to send one to him. So they came to me, and then, sweet little Scotty, the husband. What is that?
What's going on? Wow. Sweet Scotty. Boom. Fireworks.
What was that?
I don't know.
I don't know what that was. This is our first podcast ever. So whatever that is, it comes with the
welcome.
Software.
I think your husband put in the thing anytime you say his name. It's like fireworks. Go off.
Something he's done. But anyway, so he puts together. I gave him a book and I said, "Listen, I want you to take this to the post office." And Jam was there. We were on FaceTime. He was listening to all of it. I said, "Take this to the post office and send this 2-day to my brother." Simple. I feel like those instructions are so clear. Mm-hmm. Jam, send him the address. He's like, "You've got what you need." He goes out the door. He's on the road. He comes back. "Did you get it sent?" "Yeah. Overnight was really expensive." "Well, I mean, that's fair." He goes, "Yeah, I didn't do it. I just sent it another way." Well, what way did you send it?" "Whatever you told me to send it, that's what I sent it." "Okay, well, fast forward. If you sent it 2-day air, theoretically, that was a Monday. It should have been there by Thursday, but Thursday came and went and no book.
Yeah, it's Friday came and went. Saturday.
And no book. And then Friday. And then Saturday. And we're like,
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
No. Saturday is the day. So we're at the grocery store. I'm like, "Listen, maybe did they give you tracking when you went to the post office?" He goes, "I didn't go to the post office."
Yeah.
I never went to the
slow
post office.
Mail.
I went to UPS. Well, no wonder it was so expensive because you went to UPS. Whereas I'm like, I don't understand. So
I eventually got a book.
I say that to say that the reason I say this is I had the book in hand. So at first we were so excited to get started. We would be reading through it and I'd be showing him things and taking pictures and sending it to him and being like, "Here's what I'm seeing and here's what I wonder what this is." And you know, like I said, we throw money at things, so you can imagine all the things that I bought, and I will make a list and I'll put it down below so you can decide if you want to buy things or you don't want to buy things, and you can see what we bought and we know we've used and needed, or things that we bought and we haven't really seen a great value out of it yet, but maybe it'll work for you.
Yeah.
He talks about the
We try
black
to
light.
think out of the box. Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about the
So
black light that very first night. I had the black light. I had the book. I went into my closet. I shut the door, and for 2 hours, sitting in the dark,
yes,
reading
that
through
is a
this
true
book with this
story.
black light, talking on FaceTime. Which, why we were FaceTiming is still kind of beyond me. It was pitch
I have
black.
no clue. Yeah.
Having Scott come in and be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like,
The
"I'm
best
sitting
part
on
is
the
when we
floor."
were also shining the light through the book, and you're like,
Yeah,
"Oh my God, I see writing on the map," and then we realize it's just
yeah,
the words from the other page.
yeah.
So
I mean, there's some
shining a
moments where
light
we just laugh at
through the
ourselves.
pages does not work.
Right.
UV light does not
Okay.
work.
Well, I should say
3D
this.
glasses, we tried everything. I got 2 versions of
Wait.
3D glasses. They
Oh
did
yeah, I
not
have
work.
two versions
They
of
make the
3D glasses
pictures
too.
pretty. They shine
Yeah.
more, but
Yeah. Well, and
unfortunately,
here's the thing. We should always say this. We're never going to give you a red herring. We're not those people. We're not trying to
no.
send you the wrong direction. If we say something, it's true for us. Like we shined a flashlight through every page of that book looking for something. And what I will say is we did not find anything. So that
Right.
doesn't mean that it's not there. It just means that we were not able to find anything from that. Now, I don't know that
It's
that's
not
necessarily
there.
true. I'm going to take this
It
damn book
is
apart.
not there. That's true. The only reason to take that book apart, which is our thinking on this, is take the book apart is you can hold pages up to other pages, right?
Right. Really
And
kind of get
that's
them next to each other.
most
Kind of,
likely
yeah.
99% gonna find
Right.
nothing. So,
Right.
but it
Right.
gives us an opportunity to, you know, to take the pages and line them up on other pages. So,
Well, and for me, my thinking, the way I think is very tactile. When I'm
right,
like holding it in my hand and like just
right,
I can see it and think it through it a little bit different. And some people are like that and some people aren't. So for me, it made sense to buy another book. You know, I mean, I
there you go.
certainly bought enough magnifying glasses. I'm pretty sure someday when I'm really, really old, I'm going to be set because I have like 7 magnifying glasses with different variations of magnification and lights and some without lights. I mean, I've got them all because I was just so excited and I couldn't get things delivered quickly enough. So
That's true.
I running to a Walmart to
We
go
were
see what I could
also
find.
way behind, right?
We're
So,
way behind.
yeah, so we did a ton of research. I dove deep into Discord and YouTube
Yeah.
videos as well as you and stuff. We've watched
We joined Facebook
a
groups.
ton. Yes, Facebook groups, everything like that. A lot of crazy ideas out there and stuff. I think, for example, the app trail, app footpath, whatever they want to call it, the AT box. A lot of people trying to say that that is in the Smoky Mountains. I don't see it. So, and I'll tell you why. Here's my theory. He wants to spread this treasure out, right? And if the app treasure is in Tennessee or whatever, and a box is between Texas and North Carolina, trip could be up into Arkansas. What's
Or
it called? The
Louisiana.
Fen box is in the Rocky Mountains. The past and the future could be Ohio, or it could be Tahoe, or it could be the border of the Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, because that shows up in the word search, right? So if you do that, there's nothing in the Northeast. You know what I mean? If that box is not in the Northeast, they literally have no chance. It's almost a guarantee. Not to mention, gee, that freaking dinosaur map thing lines up perfectly in Vermont. So there's just no way it's not there. Matter of fact, I think I have 3 spots there, but unfortunately, we probably won't be able to get to that box. So
Not today. Again, don't forget we throw money at things. So eventually, what we'll do is we will jump into a car, or like I said, I live on the East Coast. For example, we're about to go boots on the ground. What
February.
not next week, but the week after, we're boots on the ground.
Yeah,
My son is in the military, so I'm flying out to go drive his truck back because he just doesn't want to leave it on base the whole time.
Yeah.
We'll use that as an opportunity because I live in North Carolina. I'm driving back to North Carolina to go after the Pokemon box. We have an idea of where we believe it could be,
Right.
and based on some of the clues that we've read through. And we talk about this because we laugh. There's so many words and so many things we say now that we've never said in our
Yeah.
lifetime, and there's so many like sayings that are all about treasure hunting, right? Or
Right.
like puzzle making, really, because that's what I think about this. I feel like we're looking at puzzles all day long. And the words confirmation bias is something I've never experienced before.
I love confirmation bias. That's my thing. I will confirmation bias the crap out of my solve, man.
Listen,
If I can't confirmation,
the AT
if you
box is
can't
wrong.
confirmation bias your solve, then you don't have a solve. If you
Right.
can't put the clues all together and confirm everything, I'm a huge confirmation. I'm different.
You love
I guess.
confirmation bias.
Why
It's my
not?
favorite. No, I agree.
Yes.
Listen, I love it because here's the thing. If you're not getting out and going to find this, whether you actually find it or not, then you're not really living the intent of JCB.
You
His
gotta have
goal
fun.
isn't just to be like, here's the exact spot. X marks the spot. This is where that box is. He wants everybody to search. He wants it to be a little bit difficult. I mean, the answers are in the book, though, of course, but he wants it to be a little bit
Look
difficult.
curious. You know, the fun is in the hunt, right?
The fun is
You know, and that's what it's all about. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be more exciting when I find that box in February when I'm boots on ground, or you find it in February when you're boots on ground. Literally,
Right.
you're driving from Texas through North Carolina.
all the way to North Carolina.
we are going to find at least 1 or 2 spots that you can stop at and search
Right.
on the way home. So,
Well, we've already got one spot mapped out. We've got some ideas, which kind of brings us to one of the topics we wanted to talk about today. Like, how literal are we taking the words of JCB? And so you'll find a lot of stuff on Discord, and we talk about Discord because we were fortunate enough to be added to KPro and Cowlazars Discord, and there is so
which is
much
amazing.
information.
So you can't. You make a post in there and you come back an hour later, you're thousands of posts behind. You're not
You're
even
behind.
on the
It's like
yeah. You're not even
Like,
on the board again. Hold on. a second here.
I think that like to do this truly highly effectively, you almost need to like quit your job, kind of like JCB did when he left the music industry and went to go search for Forrest Fenn. You know, this was his focus. I got to tell you, I can't do that. I have to work my job. You know, Jam has to work his job. So we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep hunting. Because our hope is that it is a little bit harder than people think it is. We love that they talk about Ready Player One. It's one of our favorite movies and
I love
one of our
that
favorite
book.
books. And
That book is amazing. One of my favorite books. So
yeah, it's fantastic. And that moment when you think back to that moment and Percival realizes to go backwards, and like what a profound impact that makes on someone's
that's
life.
the movie. See, here's
Right.
the thing. People talking about the movie, the book's different than the movie.
It's
So
true.
the book does not have a backwards race where you go back in the race.
Here's the
Now,
craziest part.
he does
I'm
reference
still in
what
the
Back to
middle
the
of reading the book.
Future. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good book. It's a great book. The book is way better than the movie, and the movie was really good. I'm not knocking the movie at all.
What does it do in the book? How does he find it in the book?
The first key. Ugh, what did he do? Oh, it was at his school, Dungeons and Dragons, and then he had to play the Lich joust and stuff like that, and he had to switch sides. He said, "Oh, do you mind if I go to the left?" So that could be also switching and stuff like that. So there's a lot to it
Interesting.
and stuff. Yeah,
That's interesting. So I haven't gotten that deep into the book because I think I told you this that like so for
That's
me a
right.
lot of times I mean like I said I have a full-time job. I had many days work 12 to 14 hours.
Yeah.
So when I'm getting my time in here I'm like throwing back a sandwich and listening to an audible or reading a page or like scanning the word search. It's like it's a little bit too all over. So we're now in this position where we're trying to focus in a little bit. So we're focusing for me on the Pokemon right now, and
that's right.
Jam is focusing on past and future box.
Past and future. That's right. Well,
This is
past and
boots on the
future.
ground.
To me, past and future is it's obvious. It's in Tahoe. If it's not
but
in
just like you
Tahoe,
think Vermont is obvious.
if
the
it's
APs.
not though, then what are you doing, man? It's like you're basically putting in huge red herrings because that word search just screams Tahoe. And I know people are like, oh, it says the word Ohio. I don't think it's gonna be that obvious, but I know Ohio people think it's in Ohio, and
I mean, just like California people would think it would be in Tahoe.
yeah, probably.
I mean, literally, JCB is from Statesville. That's about 40 minutes from me. It's logical to believe, and again, it's about deductive reasoning, right? And that's about like, what are you going to think through, and what is the truth, and what is your confirmation bias? It's logical
Right.
to believe that a man who would take 5 years to create a book about a treasure hunt for 5 different boxes and put so much intentionality into everything from the weight of metal to the exact pieces that he chose, that he would do a tribute to his own backstory, right? So it's logical that there's something here in North Carolina. That's logical to me. As I'm looking through all these different clues that I'm seeing on each different box, and like he says, read the book and go back and read it again. I find myself drawn to the smaller chapters, and that could be because right now, like I said, I'm about to do Pokemon, boots on the ground. But the reality is this, is that the details have the ability to kind of draw you in, and you get so deep into the story, you feel like you're becoming part of the story. And like yesterday I was driving to Columbia, and so I called Jam, and we were like talking because I had 2 hours to get there. And it's funny because we keep saying we need to record these things. All the things we're missing because we forget to record when we're talking.
That's right.
Like, what are the clues we talk about that we miss? And we're using all of the skills. Like I said, everything's in the book. But that hasn't stopped me from, I have literally a map of the United States on my wall in my basement in the other room.
I know. We have to start pinning it up.
Yeah, I do. I already have been pinning it up. I bought the massive Post-it notes just so I could put details on it. And we'll do a different episode about some of the things we do as we're finding clues, and like what we think could be clues, and how we start out with, in my situation, I have a bunch of different little Post-it notes. And so for me, when I think something could be something, I'll write all over it. And then I take it and I put it under that box on my big, huge Post-its. And I'll do a couple pictures. I'll throw them up, some pictures of what I'm talking about. But like, those are there. And then once I really can verify that I believe that my idea has become an actual clue or a solve, then I'm going to actually write it on my paper. Because for me, that gives me the ability to be like, it's okay that this isn't right, and that I went down this path, whether because I proved it is or it isn't.
Right. And when I come up with an idea, I send it to you to put on your little post.
And we put it on the wall. Because, again, he's very analytical. He's very, like, numbers driven and all that stuff. And so he's thinking, whereas I'm sitting back and I'm looking at it and I'm drawing parallels. And then obviously, who's not using AI to help with this? Only a fool would use AI. But I got to tell you, AI has taken us down the wrong path several times already.
It has, it is what it is. It's a helpful tool, but it's not the only tool. Your best tool is have a good time, take chance, get your boots on the ground when you think you have a legit solve. And, it's only, you're only going to be right until you find it. And really, I think a lot of people make sense as they say, when someone finds that first box and we know that location of the first box, you can then say, okay, that's how he put the clues in for that box. We can now use that to find out the other ones, to see how he's doing to clues. How does he deliver clues?
Right. And we talked about this yesterday, Forrest Fenn, there's a few reasons I think we don't know the solve for Forrest Fenn. And you made a really good point that it's probably somewhat legal is the reason that we don't have the Forrest Fenn
100%. He found it on private property. Okay, he's not going to be like, oh, this is where I found it, and now I'll be in legal trouble and stuff like that. He's going to just keep his mouth shut. I don't blame him. Now, if you find this one, and it's on public property, there's no legal reason not to. I would say you don't have to share the contents or anything like that, but I would hope, we would say the location, right?
We'll definitely say the location. We wouldn't necessarily, though, tell you how we solve for everything, because even now, one thing I'll say, because I've seen it in so many places, but it really stuck out to me in the Pokemon chapter, is like the use of numbers. Like, there's sometimes he's using digits, and there's sometimes he's writing the words out. To me, I can't decide if that's real or not, because
is that his writing style? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. When we find a case, we could say, okay, that actually matters.
Exactly.
You do work with numbers.
Exactly. So. But I work with numbers, and I receive, 500 emails a day. So when somebody writes a number and they write it out, like they're typing ONE for one, or just the number, the single digit, that's very real, and they don't tend to swap back and forth. So for me, I'm trying to read between the lines. Is there intent here? And that's an example. It's like, as I'm digging through clues, is that this? Does that mean that? I know nothing about Pokemon. I knew nothing. Well, I should say, I knew nothing about Pokemon.
That is going to be our toughest one, because we were not Pokemon people. I wasn't a Pokemon Go person.
No.
So my kids did the Pokemon Go, but that was with my wife, and she went out and did it with them. So I'm having to learn Pokemon Go now. So that's very exciting.
Even understand so much. So when I was reading this the first time, I'm like, what the heck is a Charlazar?
Oh, that was brutal. That chapter was brutal. Okay, it's like
it was
a flibber flabber and a flippity flippity. It's like, oh my gosh!
What is this nonsense
it's like
have here?
Oh, no Munu and Beetle. Oh my gosh,
Right,
it was
right.
brutal having to look up every single one. But hey, actually, shout out to the unofficial podcast.
Yeah.
Um, their Pokemon guy on there did a really good job of creating a spreadsheet and stuff like that. I was really impressed and stuff, which really helps someone like me who's like Pokemon. All right,
Right.
this is not my style. Like Ready Player One, Back to the Future, Past Present, that word search. Oh man, I love the word searches. So
Yeah.
that's me. But since you're doing this trip, we got to dive into this Pokemon
We have to
chapter.
dive, and maybe you start with what would be the hardest for us first. I mean, Forest
Yeah.
Bend will be hard for us when we, and our intent,
Uh,
like I said, our intent is to go after all 5 boxes.
I I
Um,
I I have some clues on the Forest Fen, but the problem is can I get there? And we
yeah,
have time, right?
we have
Because you
time.
supposedly can't find it while snow's on the ground. Even though
Right.
I'm going boots on ground, you're going boots on ground. Although I think we're just searching may not have snow, but it might be muddy.
I don't really
FYI.
know that area, so I've been watching
It's
it. I mean, it's definitely
cold. It gets
cold.
cold. So
But that
yes.
that brings to a point that we were talking about, like how literal are we taking him? There's some really
Mm,
great things. Like he obviously does not want anybody to get hurt. He doesn't want anybody to die. Not to
right.
imply Forrest Fenn wanted anybody to die. Certainly, I don't
No,
know him. Certainly,
obviously. I think he learned from that though. Okay,
right?
this caught I don't want to put people in danger. I don't think Forrest wanted to either, but
No,
it did. And now he's like wanting to be really cautious to make
right,
sure nobody
sure.
dies on this hunt,
And so
obviously.
we think about that. And, one of the things he says is that it's no more than 3 miles off of a road,
Mm-hmm.
and like we went back and forth with Scott yesterday when Scott was saying, "Oh no, it wouldn't be a strenuous hike," but that's not what JCB is saying. JCB says it will be dangerous.
But he kind of has a point. So that like the place we found for the Pokemon is it's a strenuous hike. It's got a lot of elevation. They say it's almost like walking the Empire State Building doing that hike and stuff
I
like
mean, why
that.
don't you just invite them? I mean, you're giving so much away.
Yeah, I don't care. This is what it's all about. They're gonna get
That's
stuff.
true.
We're not gonna hide
We're
ourselves
never
and
going to
stuff
hide
like that.
ourselves.
I mean, there's a lot on that spot and location and stuff like that. It's a round trip, 5.7 miles, and he goes, well, they can't be on that. It's 5.7 miles. Well, no, it's it's not even 3 miles out, and it's not even
Right.
3 miles back. He doesn't mean 3 miles there and
Well, and
back.
actually, if you're reading the chapter itself, it
Yeah.
says at one point we've got to a point where they sat down and they talked, and then they turned around and went back.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So
Is
that was
it's
what
not a
my point
six
to
mile
Scott.
loop even. So
Oh yeah, but my point to Scott was, the strenuous part of that hike is the end of that hike. It's the
right,
hike out, and what he says in the book is that he didn't hike out; he
yeah,
hiked back. And so
yeah.
maybe there's something to be said there about that.
Well, hiking out on that spot is easy. It's downhill. It's hiking back that's the hard. It's a nightmare. It's uphill. You're gonna burn your calves really well, and
Yeah.
it's supposed to be. It could be muddy that time of year. So in
Right.
February,
Well, I
it
mean, I
could be
have really
muddy
good
and
shoes.
slippery.
I'm just grateful there will be less snakes because that's one thing. If there's a snake, I'm out.
It's most of them are not venomous. Venomous.
Venomous, but I don't
Yes.
care. I don't care if I'm out for snakes. I'm out.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Especially when they fall from the tree. So gotta be careful there. So.
I didn't even know that was an option. I may not be going
Shouldn't have
anymore.
said that. They're actually only on the ground, so
Yeah.
don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
They're
Don't worry about
hiding.
it.
They're hibernating.
They're
It's the winter.
hiding. They're sleeping.
It's the
Yeah,
winter. They're
they're
sleeping right now.
sleeping.
No,
Yeah.
but like that's to your point. We need to be cautious, right? Like you need
Yep.
to be, if you're hiking, you don't know how to hike. We're not big hikers, but I've
They're
certainly been
not
training.
hikers.
I'm ready for a hike.
Yep.
I have the equipment. It's been
The
Scott's dream
equipment.
that I would go hiking with him.
Right.
He is welcome.
Right.
He bought me a day pack. I needed to
Right.
have it. I'll put the link. You could buy a day pack if you want. He went for something inexpensive. Because when this is over, when this is done, I won't hike anymore. I mean, maybe I will. Maybe it'll become a passion
I won't hike anymore. You might
ever
hike because
again.
guess what? You're treasure hunting with us. This is not just
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
Jon Collins Black. There's treasure inside. This is the first treasures we're going to be working on. But guess
Right.
what? There's a lot of treasures apparently. after you said that, I looked down. I'm like, whoa, treasures
I
here,
couldn't
treasures
believe. I mean,
there.
so here's the thing. So KPro made
I
some
might be a
references.
professional treasure hunter when all this
I
is
think you
done.
should be a professional. I mean,
I
what a
think I
great job.
should be.
Listen, I almost want a business card. It's like, hi, my name's, here's my
What
name,
do you do
Erin.
for a living? I hunt treasure. I mean, that's,
Would you like my card? Here's
jeez.
my business card with my treasure
Yeah,
hunting. Yes, but really, our goal is to have fun. I think that again, I think the intent of JCB is to like bring people together, to create a
absolutely.
community. And gosh, there's no bigger community than KPro and Cowlazars Discord. Like that's
Really good.
outrageous how many people are part of it. And I recognize part of it's because there's Forest Fen, there's
Mhm.
the Secret Treasure, there's other treasures in there, and those are things we'll
They
definitely
have the
look
separate
into.
word search channel. They like we. I was thinking we should put up a Discord, but come on, why bother? I mean, their
Why would you
Discord
do
is
it?
so.
Like done
Their
such a great
Discord,
job.
we recommend search their Discord out, search their YouTube out. Actually, they're getting close to 10,000. They're about almost 7,000 subscribers. So if you watch their videos, what are you doing, man? Subscribe to their video, like
Yeah.
their video, help them get to 10,000. That's the key for YouTube is to hit that 10,000 mark. So
Right.
please go find them.
And there's something to be said for the way they speak. Like
Yeah.
again, I'm always watching people's intent, and I'm always watching the way. I mean, maybe they're making a little bit of money off of that somewhere here and there, but I think the reality is they're doing something they love and they're sharing it with people who they believe love it as well. And the same with the unofficial treasure, the unofficial treasure hunt. There's treasure inside hunt.
Yeah.
Um, those are just three friends who just
I love
love
it.
the idea of doing this together. I can't tell you the number of people who I sent that video to. And everybody's like, yeah, yeah, that sounds kind of cool. And some people are like, oh, I'm in, except I can't because, Tuesdays and,
Yeah.
then there's this and there's that. But the reality is at the end of the day, Jam and I are every day. We talk every single day. And we're siblings, obviously, so we talk relatively often. And I certainly go home to California all the time. I've got grandchildren there, and my two of my children live there. Um, but the reality is the number of hours we've logged since starting this, it's been amazing.
It's
It's been a
the
great
best
opportunity.
part of the best part of the treasure hunt is treasure hunting together. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And it's been really fun like having our wow moments like, oh my gosh. And then like I got home really late last night. It was like, oh, I guess almost 1 in the morning, and I'm sitting there and Scott's got the book out and he's like, I went down a rabbit hole. And I like, here's the thing, like I'm not married to a rabbit hole kind of guy. I'm I'm married to a kind of guy who's like, this is black and this is white and that is that. But he went down a rabbit hole.
Well, he
He
never rabbit holes.
he doesn't rabbit. So he
No.
he latched on to the jar of flies, and that there's an Alice in Chains record about the jar of flies, and he spent 3+ hours trying to find a correlation between John Coltrane, Alice in Chains, and the jar of flies.
I spent
And I
so
love
much
it because
time on John
every
Coltrane.
word I'm not sure why those were the three, but that was his triangle.
Yeah.
He's going to make a match out of that. But again, to speak to the point of intent and JCB and what he was trying to do, it's important to recognize that if a word doesn't sit right with you, and we're freshman treasure hunters, right? So there's that. But I will say that when you're talking with people and when you're learning people and you're getting to know people, words are important, and the way people say things is equally as important. And so
Right.
if something feels like a clue to you, there's no reason to believe that that's not a clue. There's no reason to believe that there's not intent in the way that it was said. If I'm circling back or coming full circle one more time, I might punch myself in the face. That's how much full circle we've been so far. But it's foolish to believe that there's not something there. It's foolish to not dig deep enough to determine if something is there. And so what I would hope is as you treasure hunt with us and you go through this process with us and you go through this process with these other people who I hope like us you're also going through this process with them, that you recognize that you have real people who have different knowledge sets and different baselines of where we all come from, reading the same thing, finding different information. It's very powerful.
It is. And the KPro, they have the give a penny, take a penny thing. They get lots of pennies. I mean, come on, their word search thing, which videos and stuff like that to post stuff out is just tremendous. And the fact that they're willing to give so many pennies out, and
Right.
and all they ask is people, give pennies back, and stuff. And I think that's how you progress. That's how you get farther and stuff like that. I mean, that helped me get caught up and stuff like that. And I did a lot of research trying to find Ohio stuff, trying to find Tahoe stuff, and we have what I think is a solve. I'll be going out there late February. Too much snow on the ground, I know, but I at least need to know the area for a Tahoe solve. So,
Which
not to
we did
offend
try to find a way. One of the things we looked for yesterday was, is there a way to melt snow without like a flamethrower or a heat source?
something. I was saying flamethrower, but I don't know if I can bring that out there. And I
I
don't think
just
you
think
can
you would
bring.
enter a place where you're going with your
Yeah,
flamethrower on your back, and they'd be like,
yeah,
sir, that seems like not okay.
yeah. Well, if someone's out there, if they're not, I mean,
You
I think
probably
it's
could get
okay.
away with a flamethrower in that situation, but again,
Maybe. I don't know if you have to be a professional flamethrower technician though to
like, do you have
use
to
a
be
flamethrower.
licensed to have a? I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't
I'm
know
going to tell you
if
this.
it's a
So I live in North
license.
Carolina. We have
Hmm.
Palmetto State Armory. They absolutely sell a flamethrower at my
Yeah.
Palmetto State Armory.
Well,
Um,
you can't use a flamethrower. Look, we got all these fires in California too.
right.
Good news. Jon Collins Black is okay. He's a
Yeah.
Californian also. I'm okay. I'm Northern California and stuff. So we have a lot of damage here. So we're not gonna do a flamethrower, but
Yeah, we're definitely not setting any fires. And,
we're not starting any fires out there. It's a great idea though. Just
oh my gosh, I
FYI.
can hear our
I'm
mom
not.
freaking
We
out
are
right
so
now.
impatient.
What?
Throw
You
money
bringing
at it.
a flamethrower into the woods? I taught you better than that. Our mother is a
Yes,
total tree hugger. Like
she's a tree hugger.
we have to
She's a
clean up. We
hippie.
have to do Earth days. There's like she had us
Mhm.
do all kinds of stuff growing up, where we were going back to contribute to society and doing like I said, we did Muir Woods cleanup in Northern
Yep.
California and Muir Woods,
Yep.
and
Earth
our
Day.
brother is a marine biologist who works for the
Yep.
state of California, and like he would lose his mind if we brought a flamethrower into the woods. He'd be like, "That is irresponsible."
Yeah.
And so our intent is not to do crazy, dangerous stuff.
And don't take a flamethrower into the woods. We're
Yeah,
joking about that.
it's a
Please.
joke. Gosh, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Just because our
Disclaimer:
mom is
we are
nerdy
not
doesn't mean
legally
yeah.
responsible for anybody bringing flamethrowers
And
into
here's the thing, like
Vermont.
I even thought though about like so
FYI,
it said
Vermont.
that you could put like salt water and water or salt water on snow and it would help melt it, and it could take time, but it could take less time than you'd think. But then
Hmm.
my concern was, what would you do to that environment? Like, would we be potentially harming that environment? So
Right.
JCB was very clear for a reason. You're not going to find that box if there's snow on the ground.
Right.
But
But
that doesn't mean you can't scout your spots. That
well,
doesn't mean don't put yourself in danger. Obviously, don't go into areas where you can't get back out. Make sure that you're capable of doing your hikes. Make sure you've got plenty of water when you
right.
go in. Make sure
Water,
people
warmth.
know where you are and what you're looking for.
Mhm.
You
I think
know,
people got to realize too, it's not just about having lots of water. People think in the heat, water, blah, blah, blah. We're going to be in Tahoe and it might take an hour to hike out, an hour to hike back. We're going to search for minimum, hopefully 2 to 4 hours, depending on light and stuff, maybe longer and stuff like that. You have to be warm and stuff like that. You can't freeze up and stuff like that. You have to have proper clothes, proper warmth and stuff like
right?
that. Wear layers and stuff like that. Try to keep yourself dry. It's you just have to be safe out there. So
Be
no
safe.
flamethrowers. So,
No flamethrower, but like I said, the intent is not to do dangerous things. If it was, he would have put it in places where it was dangerous. We're not going
yes.
underwater. We're not climbing cliffs. We're not
Yeah.
going, he says, into caves. I'm not,
Yes.
thank goodness, because a bat, I'm out. It's
Yeah, and
same as a snake.
actually
It's flying snake to me.
you can't bring metal detectors in a lot of these
Yeah.
places, which is kind of big and bulky to bring around, stuff like that. However, they have little wand metal detectors.
They do
Just
have little
saying,
wood metal detectors.
they do actually. We might even provide a link down below to maybe order a little wand. And
My
while
thought is this, and we've talked about this.
metal. Don't dig. It's not digging.
It's
Just
not digging.
just moving the
Digging.
snow
And
aside.
actually, Scott's certain something's in a tree. He thinks that one of these are going to be in a tree, and all I can think is,
You got to climb the tree. Snakes are in the tree. That's the only thing
Yeah.
in the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It
so I
might
mean,
be. Who
it
knows?
could be. I mean, who knows? We don't
Yeah.
really know. But I will tell you this: we're using a lot of equipment. We're videoing everything we do,
Right.
except for car rides. Apparently, we'll figure that out. We're videoing everything we do, and if we are in a situation where we solve for it and we find it, we will eventually release a video. We want to make sure that we're respectful of JCB's process. And so, because he has said clearly that if you find a box, there's a way to connect with him and talk to him, we will talk through whether or not he's comfortable with us releasing what we find, because we want to respect the process. We want to respect what he's done here. This is not our treasure hunt. It is a treasure hunt that we're doing, but there's a creator here, and there's something beautiful about a creation like this, and we want to respect that.
Yeah, exactly. It's
But
about
we're also gonna have
respecting,
fun.
having fun. That's right. That's what it's all about. It's the being part of the community and doing what it takes to find these, right? I mean,
Right.
ultimately, we want one person to find one. It's going to help everybody everywhere, right?
Right.
So, and unless you plan on going to 5 different locations, there's a good chance you won't find all 5. So,
But we do intend
helping
to, just so
people
you know.
out is going to help you out. So,
We will end up looking at all 5 of our places, and that includes Vermont. I know, Jam
if
always
we
talks
don't
about
get,
like,
I'm hoping someone finds that Vermont. A lot of people say not till April. I'm hoping someone, because if they find the Vermont, he literally says, "I drew the treasure map." It's literally in Vermont. There's no other place it could be. Matter of fact, I
I
think
mean,
there's
there is a place in Asheville where the map is
yeah
also
the Smoky
exact.
Mountain. No, it's not. It's
It's
not exact.
pretty
There's only
dang
one
close.
exact. It's yeah. I
I
found that
mean, I
really
would
close
say
thing in
it's.
Tulsa by
Hold
Tulsa too,
on,
but
let me pull this bad boy open. I was
pull
looking at it
the
this
bad boy.
morning,
It is
and
not
it
spot on.
is.
It's literally an exact match to the trail.
That's. I mean, that's. Gosh, can you see that?
That is not even close.
Oh, it's so close. I'll put a picture. I mean, I saw it in one of my Facebook groups today, and I thought, gosh, that's close enough. I can go have a peek at that as well.
It's not close. It's not even close. There's an exact match to the whole entire
I mean, this
trail.
is also. I
There's
mean,
no
when you
other
put.
way. If it's not there, then what are you doing? Like, come on, that you're putting a red herring that big in there. I mean, that's pretty much leading people out to an area that's going to trample that area, because it's where it is. Someone's going to
Right,
find it there. It's
right.
going to be there. And I think there's 1 of 3 locations. I know people are only looking at certain locations and stuff like that, but to me, there's other possibilities on that trail
Yeah.
that it could be. I mean, it's not necessarily the beginning or the little end part and stuff like that. There's other clues that help lead you to spots
Right.
in that
Well,
area.
and
So
again, to bring it back to it, everything is a clue. Everything is a possible solve.
the problem is
And
too is you look at that map, and there's so many clues on the map that are like, oh my gosh, but yeah, but there's a wisp of smoke, and there's the balds, and the bald mountains are now in the
the
Smoky Mountains
apples,
and stuff
which
like
can
that.
be
But
easily Hendersonville, North Carolina.
how do you know that those aren't clues for the lion's share box? You
We
don't know.
don't.
People that are like, oh, it should be in Hawaii or Ohio because I'm finding stuff for Ohio in the word search. How do you know that part? Because he said the lion's share is in the whole book. And
Right.
so, how do you know those clues aren't for the lion's share and
Right.
stuff? So,
Well,
I think,
and that's why all clues matter.
right. I mean,
All clues matters.
it almost makes sense that the lion's share box is in California, clearly. So,
You
all
think every
boxes,
box is in
the
California?
Pokemon
I
box
actually,
is from Japan, and California is the closest state to Japan,
and of all of your souls, that's the worst reasoning of all
because
of them.
Hawaii doesn't count, because they didn't even add Hawaii till way after. They're like, oh yeah, and Hawaii, oh, and
Oh yeah, and
Alaska.
Hawaii. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
last second. Grab
yeah.
those last 2. Hey, wait, what are we about to add another
We're
2? We're
not
about to do
selling
3.
any books in Hawaii. Oh my gosh, it could be in Hawaii.
But that's funny that you bring up the books again, which are such an important part, because I will tell you that I personally have been to Barnes and Nobles. For those of you still trying to get a books,
Yeah.
many Barnes and Nobles have them in stock. I talked to 7 Barnes and Nobles here in the Charlotte area. I actually ended up buying from 2 different places myself. One Barnes and Noble in a place called Mooresville, North Carolina, said that they received 3 books. Mine was the first one reserved, and the other 2 were sold within the hour. The second book that I bought was in a place called Huntersville, North Carolina, and I just grabbed it on my way home from dinner one night with my in-laws, and they had 7 books, and I got the last book there. So it's like, this is definitely a big thing. Like, people are trying to get them, but if you have Barnes and Nobles near you, definitely reach out. Uh, Books. Oh gosh, what was it called? Books Now has them in stock, and they're mailing them out. You can get them within 3 days. And I'm not sure why Amazon is taking so long. Even now, our mother's book
Yeah.
won't be here till sometime next week.
So, yeah, and I know that it's actually I said Mrs. but Doctor Jam. My wife ordered a book too, which is supposed to be here early next week. So we have
Right.
a second book coming to our house, supposedly the third edition. We'll see.
Well, and I will tell you this too. We bought the ebooks as well. We bought the
Yes, I
ebooks
bought
through
the ebooks.
Apple. And the thing I love about that, and at first I was like, people are like, I can't believe you spent so much money on books and this, and now you have an ebook, and now you have this. But I'll tell you what, when I'm sitting there and I've got 25 minutes between a meeting and I don't have the time to do something else, there's no reason I wouldn't open that up and just read.
100%.
You never know the thing you're going to find. The moment of inspiration will come, or the thing that somebody is going to say to me that triggers something, and then I can just grab that ebook, open it up, and read it. Now, I will tell you, it was a little disappointing though to hear about the ebook, because then that meant that there wasn't special things about the book itself, that you had to have the book in order for it
That's
to
right.
be found.
If you had to blacklight the book, you can't
Yeah.
blacklight it in the ebook. So therefore, it's again, you don't need the black light for that. Now, in the Forest Fen hunt, you might need the black light because there's certain rocks that shine under
Flores.
the yeah. So the Forest Fen box is I'll be saving my light just in case we ever decide to do that. I don't know if we're ever gonna be in the
We're definitely
Rockies.
going to do that. There's no reason not to
Maybe,
just grab an
maybe
Airbnb and go
Colorado.
be there for a week. Our
Pretty
sister
sure it's
lives
in
out in
Colorado.
Boulder.
She does live in Colorado, and I'm pretty sure it's in Colorado. So
And but like, the spot we think is pretty far from her, but we'll
it's not
go
close.
grab an Airbnb for a week. That's
Yeah,
the hunt is part of the pleasure.
that is
So
true.
we think about, like, when we first dug deep, the first book we really started going after, or the first chapter we really kind of dug into, but we didn't know was Forrest Fenn.
I
We
like
just
these.
didn't know that it was Forrest Fenn that we were like going after.
Right.
Um, and every day we uncover different things that we're reading differently, or different words are sitting differently, or you find something on this page that makes something on that page make you go,
Yeah,
and
and we'll be going through a lot
right.
of our part of our solves or solves we can't we they don't seem to be going anywhere and stuff
Right.
like that, or what we see in other videos and stuff.
Right.
This is our introduction.
Right. It's already longer than we intended.
Yeah,
Hi.
we are what's it called? We will be talking about our boots on the ground, which is going to be in Arkansas and Tahoe. Those are our two spots. I look at your face. I'm not
I
giving
can't believe
anything
you're
away.
telling
It's a
people.
huge state. Okay, it's a huge state, but yeah, 100%. We are most likely going to be in Arkansas and
Yeah.
Tahoe.
Okay, might as well
So
tell them we'll be in Arkansas soon.
look at there's nothing new out there, right? A lot
No,
of people
and
think it's in
everybody's talking
Tahoe. A
about
lot of
places.
people think it's in Arkansas because of the Ozark.
Right.
Why would you mention the Ozark except to say that is the weird trip back? Like you wouldn't. That's not a normal trip from Texas to North Carolina that you
No.
would
I
do.
mean,
You would
he was
never
going
go
full
that high,
circle. He was going
right?
full circle.
And so the only reason to do that would be to like, hey, you got to go way north before you go over. So Arkansas makes a lot of sense. It makes the most sense. I mean, I
I mean,
guess you
although
could dip.
we have gone back and forth, and there was
Yeah.
a lot of times in the beginning that I really thought Raccoon Island and New Orleans. I really thought Raccoon Island could be a place and a choice,
Yeah.
because
Well,
he talks about the raccoons, and it's such a random thing to discuss like that.
it,
And it's like,
it,
I don't think it's a red herring. I think it's
raccoons are everywhere. They're literally everywhere. I'll tell you what's not everywhere though, and your husband brought this up yesterday, and he made a good point. Is the mud skipper? It's
mudskip.
the
Yeah.
mud skipper, which is one of the Pokemons. Don't ask me which one. I'll the flibber flabber probably, but what's it called? The mud skipper is not. It's in more of a tropical environment, which would be in the Gulf Coast, which would be Louisiana. So there's a very good chance that it could just be in Louisiana and stuff. I do not think it's in New Orleans, mainly because he says he picks him up at a jazz bar, right? Jazz bar, you know, New Orleans. When I think of jazz, it's such a beautiful place to listen to jazz. And then he drives. He drives away. He leaves that area. So it's just
Right.
not in New Orleans. I'm sorry for the New Orleans people. It
It makes
wouldn't
you
make
wonder, though,
sense.
the focus. Like, what was he telling you when he tells you about how he ran out of the doors with his parents, right? And
Yeah.
he's ahead of them, and he goes into that jazz bar, and he gets up on the bar stool, and he's listening to jazz and that powerful thing. Like, what's the connection he's creating there? There's intent there. We just haven't uncovered it yet.
Yeah, and it could be in Louisiana or, one of those areas and stuff like that. And
Yep.
to me, I was like, oh, okay, well, look at it. If he was in New Orleans and he left and he listened to John Coltrane and like one of his most famous albums, 40 minutes long. So does that mean he's 40 minutes away from New Orleans? I don't know. Just saying.
Does it? It
So,
could. You
could
never
be.
know. And like we thought about that, like because I would say that of all the things that in that chapter, John Coltrane is the hardest portion of it for me. And I have literally, you want to talk about a deep dive? I find no correlation to our location where we're looking. I find no correlation to what I'm trying to find. I don't know the reason yet.
I wish he
And
had
so
lyrics in his songs.
that
you
would
know,
make it so much
which
better.
I did look, and he does do the Sound of Music and stuff like that. And of course, I went through the whole entire Sound of Music, you know, when the dog
Yeah.
bites, blah blah blah, bee stings. I went through that
Yeah.
whole thing. I didn't find anything. So, but he doesn't have any real lyrics. So it's like it's not even like you can find a song about the hunt and
Right.
look for lyrics in it and stuff. So
No, exactly. So it's like, so as you're thinking through all of these things, one thing after the next, it's like, you can't, we probably aren't 100% ready to be boots on the ground. We really aren't 100%. But are you ever 100% ready for anything you go to do? I'd rather try and fail
look,
and
you're
try
gonna be
again.
on this trip. Why would we not find at least
Absolutely.
one or two spots? And our goal is to find our best spot. And right now we have one, which is
Right.
in Arkansas, right?
Right.
So a lot of people in Arkansas, a lot of people are on the Buffalo National River, obviously, as they
Right.
probably should be, right? There's a lot of stuff that fits in there. Um, but we will keep looking for another spot if there's a better spot, right? So, speaking of which, if you guys have a better spot or you have comments
Something
about
you want
this
us to
podcast,
investigate?
you can send it to, what is it? Comments at
Comments at Treasure Hunt with us.
treasurehuntwithus.com. What is that in there?
Comments at treasurehuntwithus.com.
That's
We'll
right.
link it below.
That's right.
Because if there's something you want, like maybe you're in Washington or you're in California, like Jam.
Maybe you want to tell me I'm an idiot.
Oh
Please
gosh,
let me
it's like,
know.
I mean, our
That
whole
will make
lives it's been
her
about.
so happy. That will make her so
It's not that
happy.
I think you're an idiot. It's that I think that sometimes you're stupid. No, just kidding. No, but on a side
Sometimes
note,
I
like
am stupid.
listen, we're gonna say things that are not meant to be mean to each other. We're gonna say things that I cannot wait to hear how bad I look. I'm sure that those things are coming. I don't really care about that. But what we care about is this: is that if you're truly interested, maybe you don't feel like you can get away from where you are, but you'd like us to explore something, one of the places we're going, we'll let you know what we find. We'll tell you whether or not something you think is there. We'll take a picture for you. We'll send it
Sure.
to you.
Yeah, we're gonna
Because this is
record
about
our boots
community.
on the ground hunt, and so where we look, so you will
Yeah.
know our spot where we look after our boots on the ground. We will
Yeah.
record it, we'll post it, and we'll have
We'll
fun.
definitely have
That's
some
the most important
videos.
thing. We'll have
We'll
some
let you know what's
videos.
good. We'll let you know what's bad. Um,
Yeah,
if I'm freezing cold, I may be swearing a lot, so I'll try to get a really good bleeper to bleep that out because I
yeah.
don't do cold very well.
You just do not do
But
very
mostly
well.
we just hope you'll come treasure hunt with us. And as we go through,
That's
like we
right.
said, like and subscribe. And then we're going to list below some people who we think are really important for you to also be following. I do think you should be following KPro and Cowlazars and the
Yep.
unofficial podcast
Yep.
because
And
there's,
what's his name? I can look it up really quick.
oh,
Like
Dave, are you talking about Dave?
Quest or something like that. Hold
Oh,
on, I
yeah,
don't want to get it
he's really
wrong.
good as well. Gosh, I feel bad that I'm not. We should have made a list. Listen,
We
this is our
should have
first
made
ever
a list.
podcast. Can you tell?
He's
We should have
really
made a
good.
list for you.
Yeah.
But again, we'll post the link for on Spotify for American Treasure with Dave Colonna, which just so you know, and I'm sure you've
Yeah.
probably, if you're looking at this at all, you've probably heard most of this stuff. But JCB and Dave Colonna are actual real life friends,
Estes.
and
That's right. I apologize.
yeah, Dave
Estes is
Colonna
Quest.
is
He's got
has
lots of cool stuff. So
yeah, he's got a lot of cool things. He's only released 2 podcasts so far. And he's also, I believe, based on something that was said last week, is that he's also doing like a documentary. So these are all things that make it so that some of his stuff is very helpful. And it's funny
I
because
find
now,
it funny that you find this stuff helpful when you are a book purist.
I am a
So
book purist.
why would you watch these videos? It makes
Everything
no
you need is
sense.
in the book. Those are his words. He's
True.
literally, so it means if I couldn't
Everything
see
you need
anything,
is in the book, but maybe not everything you want. So everything I want is probably
Well, and
outside
I will
the
say
books.
this: the things I didn't know, right? Like different solves and different ways to look at things. Gosh, anagrams. I've never spent so much time thinking the things were anagrams in my entire. Like, does that mean this? Does that mean this? Is that this?
Caesar cipher, man. I've never shipped so many letters over in my life. Shipped them forward, shipped them back.
Yep. And so, I mean, the fun is in the hunt, and what we hope is that you'll come and you'll join us and you'll treasure hunt with us. So until the next time, which should be in the next few days, and we'll get a more regular schedule put together. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. There was a lot of rambling. There will be more rambling in the future. But if you'd like us to look at something specific, you want us to talk about something specific, again, comment at treasurehuntwithus.com. We'll read your information. We'll talk about it. Join the Discords. We'll link it all. Watch the videos. Listen to the podcast. Let's do this together, friends.
Yeah, you're going to treasure hunt. Why not treasure hunt with us? That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. I'm in. So we'll see you soon.